Cup, and twice they have walked away as champion. One of those championship victories came at the expense of today's opponent, the Saskatchewan Huskies. Saskatchewan has had its share of Vanier success over the years, but the memory of losing to St. Mary's in 2002 is still fresh in the minds of these players. Today provides an opportunity for Saskatchewan to exact a measure of revenge against their eastern rivals. The journey towards the Vanier Cup is rapidly drawing to a close. For one team, the dream of championship glory will continue, while for the other, their season is about to end in disappointment.
It's the Mitchell Bowl, University of Saskatchewan against St. Mary's, a battle of the Huskies. Hi, everyone. I'm John Wells, along with Lee Patterson, back on campus at the University of Saskatchewan. You know, when you look at the Western Huskies, this is a team that won 2 playoff games without their starting quarterback, an all-star in the Canada West Conference, and he draws back. Steve Beelan will be the starter for Saskatchewan today.
Yes, he will, John. Nobody's sure if he is 100%. He's got a pulled stomach muscle, and you really never know if it's healed or if it isn't healed. The one good thing is, though, he is back in the lineup. He's the #1 passer in Canadian University football, over 2,500 yards, and what I love is that touchdown interception ratio. 25 TDs, 7 interceptions, but even as his head coach Brian Towers says, he's going to start, but he just doesn't know how well he'll play.
Steve's practiced all week. He's made all the throws that we've required him to do. I don't know whether he's got quite the zip that he had. In fact, we know that he probably isn't going to have quite the arm strength that he had during the regular season, but we'll just see how he reacts in the game. Everything that he's done so far has been in a very controlled situation and that kind of thing. So he's close to being 100%, but he's not, and we're going to go in, and we feel that he gives us our best chance to get off to a good start at least.
This has been a rebuilding year for St. Mary's, and their 5th-year quarterback, Steve Piniella, is 1 win away from another appearance, his 4th straight in the Vanier Cup.
Well, John, they've really played well, and they've done it at the right time. Seen the last couple of games, they've really dominated their opponents. They've run the football lately as well as they ever have. They have a huge offensive line, and, you know, when they don't run the football, a guy I'm really looking forward to see play today is wide receiver Fraser O'Neill. How about him? 6'4", 205. 4.5 speed in the 40, 37 catches on the regular season. If he's not a pro prospect, I've never seen one. So St. Mary's is getting it together at the right time, and Saskatchewan, they've had it together most of the year.
Lots to look forward to in Saskatoon today. It's a battle between the Huskies, the Sea Dogs versus the Prairie Dogs. Coming right up.
The 2004 Mitchell Bowl on TSN is brought to you by Desjardins, proud partner of the 2004 Desjardins Vanier Cup.
Okay, here's what I'm thinking. Single rope, just until we clear that first vertical on the western wall. They're gonna freestyle across the 7th phase. I'll make the solo ascent to the 2nd plateau. Check your safeties. We don't need to be heroes today.
Whatever. Let's get it done by 5.
All right!
Columbia gear. Get it at Sport Check.
Look at him. He thinks this is his truck. Nah, he's wrong. This is my truck. 8 years I've sat here. 130,000 kilometers of wind have passed through this nose. This truck is mine, but he does protect it.
Help extend the life of your engine with Castrol GTX High Mileage, specially formulated to protect against oil burn-off better than competitive leading oils.
Good man. Yes, nice man.
Help older cars feel young again with Castrol GTX High Mileage.
You would never hear this from John, but he owns the best car repair shop in town. He's got a well-deserved reputation for getting it right the first time. He listens to his customers. He uses top-quality Napa parts with their 12-month, 20,000-kilometer parts and labor warranty. He's also authorized to provide new car scheduled maintenance. A shop like John's isn't this good because there's an Auto Pro sign out front. Fact is, there's an Auto Pro sign out front because John's shop is this good.
The 2004 Mitchell Bowl on TSN is brought to you in part by Tissot Swiss Watches since 1853. Tissot, innovators by tradition. By Via Rail, people moving people. By Budweiser, king of beers. By Pizza Pizza. And by Magma Communications, www.magma.ca. Demand more, demand better, get Magma.
We've got a full house for the Mitchell Bowl, a battle of the Huskies at Griffith Stadium on the campus of the University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon. Two Husky teams a win away from the Vanier Canada's University Football Championship 1 week from today at Ivor Wynn in Hamilton. It's a pleasant afternoon under sunny skies in Saskatoon, -4, and the wind west at 11, blowing right to left across your television screen.
Well, John, the head coach for the St. Mary's Huskies is Blake Nill in his 7th year in that position, a 6-year CFL veteran. He's got a couple of Vanier Cups to his credit in 2001 and 2002, and Blake was Coach of the Year in Canadian University football in 1999.
Brian Tyrus has been head coach of the University of Saskatchewan Huskies since he was 27 years old. He is now in his 21st season, so you can figure out the age of the head coach of Saskatchewan if you add those two numbers together. We're ready for the kickoff, and the Huskies will kick to the Huskies. It's a battle of the dogs here in Saskatoon this afternoon. St. Mary's won the toss and have elected to take the ball in the second half. So dropping deep for Saskatchewan, back near the 10-yard line. A couple of returners, Graham Bell and Aaron David, are back there. David, a Canada West All-Star kick return specialist. And we're set to get the Mitchell Bowl underway. Two teams a win away from the Canadian Football Championship. This is Aaron David for Saskatchewan. He's got the 10, the 15, and wrapped up at the 20-yard line. So the big story in Saskatoon all week long, Steve Beelan, a conference all-star, the leading passer in the Canadian Inter-University Football Conference this season, is back in the lineup as the starting quarterback. He missed the first 2 games of the playoffs, and he'll get tested today. This offensive line, Leaf, has been rock solid all season long. Very few sacks are allowed, and they're very consistent along the offensive line.
Well, for as much as they've thrown the football with Beelan, they've only given up 7 sacks rather on the season.
First down, Saskatchewan. Beelan behind his receiver. The catch is made anyway. Jeff Seaman comes up with it. The tackle by Kiakopoulos for St. Mary's.
Well, John, when we look at this St. Mary's defense that Steve Beelan will be throwing against, it is an aggressive group. Their philosophy is to pressure the quarterback, play a lot of cover zero, which means you take your middle safety out of the middle. Kiakopoulos, there he is, and you bring him up in coverage. They like to gamble. They think the offense will not make good reads and make mistakes. A lot of pressure from St. Mary's today.
Sheeman picked up 16 yards. There was early movement, and the flags come down. Tackle made by Clovis after Nunweiler goes off left tackle, and we'll check the infraction. Looked like early movement from the St. Mary's side. Chad Nunweiler averaging 7.2 yards a carry. This is his 4th game for Saskatchewan.
You know, it's interesting, John.
Offside, St. Mary's, number 43, 47. It'll be first down, repeated.
So 1st and 5. It's interesting. Nunweiler, 165 yards in the big Hardy Cup win over Alberta last week. But Blake Nill, the head coach of St. Mary's, said, we want to stop the run. We want to stop Nunweiler and make Beelan beat us through the air, which is a little unusual since he's the best passer in college football.
On 1st and 5, this will be enough for a first down, Saskatchewan. Kiakopoulos was there to make the tackle, and Kendall makes the catch.
Well, trips to the field and good protection for Beelan. 3-step drop, easy ball to complete. Lebanon, 1st and 5. They go to the air, and Saskatchewan, taking the opening kickoff now, has put back-to-back first downs and has a nice drive going.
Steve Beelan 2 for 2, a couple of short passes So he hasn't really tested the injury significantly. There's an ab muscle pull that happened just prior to the playoffs. Nylander, left side again. This will be first down territory. And Saskatchewan off to a rolling start inside the 45 of St. Mary's. Sebastian Clovis over to make the tackle.
Well, John, your offensive line has to get the seal block to get to the outside, but when a lead play, you expect a good block from the fullback, number 30, Jeff Piercy, delivers to the outside. Look at the kick out on 44, Tim McDonald, and Nunweiler with lots of room to bounce it to the outside. And already on the opening drive, Saskatchewan has shown you everything. Short passes, good runs. It's a nice opening drive.
And a 14-yard gain for Nunweiler. Not as much running room this time for Stevens. Scott Stevens, number 16, wrapped up by Matt Fox in the middle of things for St. Mary's.
Well, St. Mary's gets put into a bit of a bind. You know, I said Blake Nell really wants to stop the running game of Saskatchewan. They want to take away something, and, you know, if they have to, they're going to go to a 5-man defensive front, try to put 8 in the box. But I really think that plays into Beeland's hands, should they. So far, they've just been content to keep 7 up there.
2nd and 8, Saskatchewan. Beeland to the far side. He's got his man wide open over there, Aaron David. And reacting quickly, Sebastian Clovis to make another tackle.
A nice catch by Aaron David. He lets the 2 inside receivers clear out. Watch up the top of your screen. He'll come underneath. And so far, they haven't had Beeland have to throw the ball very far, but he's been most effective throwing underneath the coverage.
David flanks to the near side this time after picking up 12 in the previous play. This time. Very versatile as a running back. He's got blazing speed. 3 games he has played, and he joined this team on the final game of the regular season.
Watch the left tackle, Chris Sutherland, number 63. It's a counter trap, and Nunweiler follows him. Then when he sees daylight, he no longer leads that blocking to the outside. A great cutback up the middle, and my, oh my, this is an impressive opening series.
17 yards the gain, first down, Saskatchewan. Nunweiler again, dragging one St. Mary's player, Sebastian Clovis, and it's a 9-yard pickup this time. The interesting story about Nunweiler is he played the entire season and his entire career with the Saskatoon Hilltops and only joined the Huskies a matter of weeks ago. Looking back on the season, Lee, Saskatchewan lost 5 tailbacks over the course of the regular season in 2004. So Nunweiler is the 8th tailback they've had running out of this backfield. Second and a couple, and Stevens should have enough.
Well, I think for Blake Nell of St. Mary's, their head coach, his worst fears are being realized. He's come into a pretty hostile environment here in Saskatoon at Griffith Stadium, and the hometown heroes have taken the opening drive and methodically marched it down the field. And when you're on the road, you love to take the crowd out early, and that really is not the case so far in this first quarter.
Look at this drive. It began back at the 20. Another Saskatchewan first down. Feel into the far side, and he's got a target. Nunweiler, or Jeff Piercy, I should say, number 30. Gets his hands on the ball. So Piercy with the 8-yard catch, and he's got the first 6.
And John, here's what happens when you've run lead blocks successfully. Piercy comes out like he's going to block for Nunweiler, and there's no match to be caught from behind. A touchdown pass delivered by Beeland, and on the 10th play, of this opening drive. What a start for the Huskies from Saskatchewan.
7-0 on the scoreboard. The drive began back at the 20, and Piercy finishes it off with an 8-yard reception.
Wow, new cherry Pepto. I love cherries.
Now there's a Pepto flavor everyone will love, and that's reason to dance.
New cherry Pepto.
Look for it today.
What a dinner. She really hit it out of the park this year.
She knew what she had to do, and she went out there and did it.
Part of a champion.
I said it.
Come on. What about the gravy? Kind of dropped the ball on that one.
Dropped the ball? She clearly served up an ace.
I thought you showed a lot of hustle.
Hey, no one wants us to go into overtime, okay? Let's just stay focused.
Way to keep the drive alive, honey.
All right, who'd like pie?
Right here.
There
Good
we
call.
go. Jump right in there, boys.
Chopper bikes, now on sale at Sport Chek.
The new lightning-fast Corolla XRS. Once you're into it, you're really into it.
I used to swim like a fish. Now I swim to stay healthy. But when I've neglected my diet, I've relied on the science of Centrum daily for complete vitamin and mineral support. Centrum Select, complete from A to zinc.
Not that long ago, young Bobby was given great-tasting Dimetapp to relieve his cold symptoms. It seems that he's back to his normal self. Dimetapp, and they'll be back.
The 2004 Mitchell Bowl on TSN is brought to you in part by Steel, makers of the world's #1 selling chainsaw and a full line of outdoor power equipment. By the Toshiba Cosmeo, a wireless notebook and portable home entertainment center all in one. And by Campbell's Chunky Soup. Campbell's Chunky, fully constructed.
Griffith Stadium in Saskatoon, a great start for the hometown Huskies of Saskatchewan. An incredible 10-play drive covering 90 yards for a 7-0 advantage in the kickoff afterwards. With Nash returning for St. Mary's. And he'll have decent field position out near the 45-yard line. Steve Piniella, fifth-year quarterback for St. Mary's, is leading the way. 2,000 yards passing on the season. Nice receiver, and Fraser O'Neill will take a look at. And lots of newness, fresh faces up front in a rebuilding team. But there are two All-Atlantic All-Stars there, Eric Ince and Isaac Robinson. On the ground in the first play, Les Mullings.
Well, the Saskatchewan defense this afternoon has 10 out of 12 starters that faced St. Mary's 2 years ago in the Vanier Cup, so a very veteran group for them. 9 interceptions throughout the season, so they cover the pass well, and they are going to have their hands full. This is an awfully big St. Mary's offensive line that throughout the season has just worn other teams down.
Les Mullings with 5 yards on his first carry, and there wasn't much left there for Al Giacalone, who had such a sensational time last week against Acadia in the Atlantic final with 301 yards and a couple of touchdowns against the Axemen.
Well, Wellesley, I would suggest that after a 10-play drive, you would like to answer with something of your own, just to at least try to take a little momentum away from the hometown squad. But St. Mary's on a quick 2-and-out, and all of a sudden Steve Beeland is going to get the ball back in a hurry.
Number 9 for St. Mary's, Dan Lumley, a one-hopper taken by Aaron David, and penalty flags are down in the coverage. A 47-yard punt. And Saskatchewan marched the ball very effectively with a great mix of pass and run, finishing off with a passing touchdown on the scoring play to Piercy, but Nunwheeler had a great time going there.
Yes, he did, and you know, when you're trying to answer some unanswered questions about Beeland, is he able to play today? Well, I think we answered that one. And can they run against St. Mary's? I think we answered that with 39 yards on the ground. And so there was a lot of little question marks on that opening series that I think were answered positively for head coach Brian Salras.
I think it was a well-orchestrated drive when you looked at Beeland basically using the short passing game. I mean, he didn't air anything out, but he was very effective, and he didn't miss anybody. #1 passer in the nation in 2004. Steve Beeland, a conference all-star, most valuable player in Canada West. 25 touchdowns tossed and only 7 interceptions. First down, Saskatchewan. Beeland to the near side, and he's got Jeff Piercy again. Back-to-back catches for Piercy, and he's awfully close to a first down. We'll see exactly where they mark it.
Well, it's amazing what happens when you get a running game established early. Then it just seems to open all the underneath patterns up, play action passes. Piercy with a couple of terrific blocks for Dunweiler early, and now with a couple of nice catches. Touchdown reception, and then that one right here. So far, 2 catches for 18 yards for him, and a terrific start.
Picked up 11 yards, and it's a first down, Saskatchewan. Scott Stevens tries the right side, flag down in the Saskatchewan backfield, and the tackle made by Curtis Nash. Where the flag flew, the indication would be holding against the green and whites. Referee this afternoon, Frank Whites, and Jeff Piercy got caught, it would appear.
I was at my lip-reading best there that he said number 30. There's head coach Brian Towers. Must be thrilled with the way his team has opened up. You always wonder in a game of this magnitude, you've got young players, and he's lucky. He's got a veteran team with him. They've been through these pressure games before, and it doesn't look at all like they're in awe of being in the national semifinal.
Long pass this time, and no one home. As Beeland looked deep for the first time on first down, looking for Sheeman.
Well, and that's what St. Mary's defense is going to give you throughout the course of this game. I mentioned early that they are a pressure defense. That's their style. They will bring corner blitzes. They will bring safety blitzes. They'll bring 5, 6, 7 people. And that means for quarterback Steve Beeland, he has to read that. And when he gets the opportunity, he will have to go deep because that's the vulnerable area.
Chad Rempel to the near side. Flank wide left. 2nd and 20. And there was early movement down there. A flag is down before the play. Couple of penalties here in Saskatchewan after that.
Timeout. Saskatchewan number 4. 2nd down repeated.
Saskatchewan had the impressive opening drive, but a couple of penalties here make it 2nd and 25 after back-to-back penalties. Not many plays in the book for this.
No, not really. And it's interesting, St. Mary's on this 2nd and enormous. They don't bring an extra defensive back. They just stay with their regular defense.
Stevens, left side. And David Metledge had him wrapped up after about a 3-yard gain, kicking situation, Saskatchewan.
Well, that's a good break early for St. Mary's. You know, 7-0, and then you give the ball right back to Saskatchewan. I mean, you need a good defensive series after you've been kind of beaten up on the opening one. And so a solid defensive stand. Penalty helped a little bit, but St. Mary's and Steve Pinella should get the ball in pretty darn good field position here.
Brad Olin in, averaging 35.6 yards per kick. Just 1 deep for St. Mary's. Curtis Nash, near side, wrestled down and forced out around the 50-yard line. A 46-yard punt. It's the Mitchell Bowl from Saskatoon.
Pontiac drivers make the most of even the smallest opportunities. Introducing Pontiac Wave.
Live the St. Mary's University experience in Halifax, Nova Scotia, one of Canada's most exciting cities. Maclean's and Canadian Business Magazine rank St. Mary's as one of the top 10 universities in the country. 200 years of excellence in higher education meets cutting-edge programs and research in arts, commerce, and science, and the latest technology. St. Mary's campus is wired with internet access ports everywhere students work, meet, and live in residence. St. Mary's University, everything you need is right here. Visit the campus online.
That's darn pretty. Where do the Northern Lights come from, anyway?
Well, way out in Canada.
I mean, what causes them?
I don't know.
Long-lasting, super bright LED lights from Home Hardware use 80% less electricity. So they save you energy and money.
Oh, my.
Energy-saving LED lights from $7.99 at Home Hardware. Holiday decorating help is close to home.
Piss right through here.
Saskatchewan Huskies have the lead, and they have the ball. 1st and 10 at the 16. Chad Nunweiler, Sebastian Clovis, those two have met each other a couple of times already in the opening quarter. -4 at kickoff time, and the heaters are on.
Now, what's your best guess at the wind chill here, Mr. Weatherman?
I'd say about -6. It's not really that bad, is it?
Oh, it's not -4. It's not great.
You know what's nice is the bright blue prairie sky, and it makes it feel a little warmer than it might actually be. Gain is 4, 2nd and 6. Time to throw. Complete. No, Aaron David couldn't hang on. Aaron David. They're short of the first down is what they really are, yeah.
But he came up a little bit short, and well, it's awfully close. You know, so far, though, Beelan has had all kinds of time to throw the football. St. Mary's known as a pressure defense on the quarterback. They really have not got any pressure yet on Beelan.
He's a cool customer, completing 60% of his passes during the regular season. 25 touchdowns. 7 interceptions, and he has a 1st down here in the connection with David.
Another one of a number of Saskatoon Hilltop juniors to play for this team. 26-year-old quarterback.
Nunweiler, and not any place to go this time. Matt Fox was there and waiting.
And Matt Fox is going to have to make a lot of plays. He's the middle linebacker in this St. Mary's defense, and he's going to really have to roam. There you see him to the right of your screen. If they just don't get out and get enough of a block, he fights it off of the left tackle, Chris Sutherland, gets in there. But Matt Fox, if Saskatchewan's going to run the football, it's going to be because they've been able to block Matt Fox all afternoon.
No gain, it'll be 2nd and 10. Beelan. And the coverage was too tight. Flags are down. The intended receiver, Drew Kendall. And Birthright was on his back.
That's a pretty easy call for the officials to make. Birthright was all over the receiver, got in there, made contact. You're going to see it right here. And about a half a second before the ball arrived, he was there on the back of the receiver. But once again, slowly Saskatchewan starts from deep in their own territory.
St. Mary's number 27, 1st down Saskatchewan.
And 27 is in fact Aldrich Birthright. It'll stand as a 13-yard gain for Saskatchewan. Out across the 40 to the 41. Beelan with time again, a little low. And they say no catch, far side. Piercy was the intended receiver.
Well, I sure like the style, though. Piercy didn't come up with the catch, but, I mean, they ran 4 receivers deep and then bring Piercy all the way back across the defense underneath. That is an exceptionally tough pattern to cover. And going to see all the receivers clearing out. Now there's Piercy underneath. I mean, that's tough to cover. I'm sure they'll note that and go back to that.
Andre Knights covering for St. Mary's to make this 2nd and 10. Draw play, and Nunweiler stopped in his tracks again. That's one of the things that Blake Nill was talking about, figuring a way to stop, and he's had Matt Fox on him a couple of times.
Yeah, Matt Fox made the play again. He's fired up. He's the middle linebacker. I just said, if they're going to shut down the running game, and there's Fox to the left of your screen, number 40, he's eyeing Nunweiler the whole way, and he's right in the hole to make the play. And honestly, folks, if they're going to stop the run, it's clearly on Matt Fox's shoulders.
Nunweiler, first 3 carries, 39 yards. The last 3 carries, just 4 yards. An interesting adjustment by St. Mary's. Away from the deep backs, Curtis Nash. And Nash will draw a flag as Saskatchewan was inside that 5-yard area.
Hey, taxi!
So where's the best place to get a Jack Daniels in this town?
No problem.
Here you go. Nice bar.
Out here, the only thing on your truck that should be rolling around are the wheels. Everything we've learned out there has gone in here. Introducing the 2005 Tacoma. Very powerful, very big, and with a tough dividable bed, very versatile.
Real good.
Countdown. Join Dave Randorf, Jock Clammy, Chris Schultz, Glenn Suter, and special guest Joe Pow for a preview of the Grey Cup game coming up tomorrow afternoon. BC and Toronto.
And I'm filing a protest with the network. Those guys look like they're having far too much fun.
That picture was taken months and months ago.
Boy, congratulations to my pal Jock Clammy.
Yeah. Another new addition to the Clammy clan.
Way to go, Jock.
Way to go, Mrs. Clammy.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
St. Mary's, 1st and 10. They've turned up the volume here at Griffith Stadium in Saskatoon. And it's tough running inside for St. Mary's.
You know what, John? So many players on this Saskatchewan team come from the junior football ranks. If they play junior for a few years, in fact, there's 12 on the team, 10 of them from the Saskatoon Hilltops, of which Darryl Balzer is one. Now, whenever you and I do a Saskatchewan game, it's always interesting for me to know who's the oldest guy on the team. Hey, it's Darryl Balzer. He's 29.
Well, he's still on campus, still taking classes, and still has eligibility. But we've seen Huskies from this school who have had long careers. No question about that. Giacalone should have the first down. It was 2nd and 4. And McCulchuk. That's Jess McCulchuk, 35, to make the tackle there.
Remember Rob Simchuk from back in the late 80s? He was about 34 when he was playing fullback here.
We celebrated a victory with Rob and a whole pile of Huskies, a few of whom we met yesterday, as a matter of fact. All graduates and part of the coaching staff now.
Ed Carlton, as the defensive coordinator, was on those late 80 teams. He reminded us that we were all out with him years ago.
Ball came loose, it would appear, but it won't be trading hands here.
You know, so far Steve Piniella has really tried to get that running game going, and it's been just dribs and drabs, and I think sooner or later he's going to have to start to mix the pass in. He's got some solid wide receivers in O'Neill and Mako, and Ryan Walberton is a pretty decent slot back, and you know, sooner or later I think he's going to have to start to throw, because this Saskatchewan defense is putting a lot of people up in the box.
Piniella with 10 touchdown tosses, regular season. He looks at 2nd and 9 here. Has time to throw, and Giacalone dropped it. Fraser O'Neill looked to be wide open, didn't he?
Yeah, he really was, and he was calling for the football. And you know, one of the things Steve Piniella did was to go down to the U.S. in the wintertime and play some indoor football to just learn to make better reads. Well, he had lots of time to throw, and I suggest that he and Fraser O'Neill get together on the sidelines and discuss what's happening, because he's got to get the football to that wide receiver O'Neill.
St. Mary's set to kick. This could be final play of the opening quarter. Lumley gets it down. And Aaron David has the return. Somebody called fumble. Flag is down, but there won't be a turnover here. Tyrone Brew leading the tacklers there.
We've got everyday low fares to more places in Canada than any other airline. So low, everybody can go.
Penalty on the return going against Saskatchewan, so there will be one final play in the opening quarter. Nunweiler gets the carry, and Metledge gets credit for the tackle. Final play of the opening quarter at Griffith Stadium in Saskatoon, where the hometown Huskies lead the visiting Huskies 7-0.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by the new American Express Aeroplan Plus card.
Back at the SportsCenter newsroom, I'm Rod Smith. The second quarter of the Mitchell Bowl is coming up here on TSN, with the winner to take on either Laval or Laurier. Here's what happened in the UTEC Bowl earlier in the day. Geronimo Huerta Flores and his defending Vanier Cup champion Laval taking on the Golden Hawks. First half belonging to Laval. Huerta Flores rushing for a couple of TDs. The Quebec champs up 18-1 at the half, and more in the second half. William Leclerc tossing one for Matthew LeBlanc, who hauls it in and does the rest. A 50-yard TD strike. Laval winning at 30-11. They're off to the Vanier again. In case you missed it last night, it was ugly in Detroit. Pistons Pacers, a game called with 45 seconds to go because of a major brawl. Players and fans getting into it. The NBA has officially suspended Ron Artest, Ben Wallace, Stephen Jackson, and Jermaine O'Neal indefinitely. More on that on SportsCenter at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific time.
The GMC Sierra with Duramax diesel and Allison transmission. Legendary torque. Introducing the GMC Canyon. With a surprisingly powerful inline 5-cylinder engine, you might just forget it's a midsize.
Nice phone, Tori.
Thanks. It's the Kyocera. It's got text messaging, speakerphone, and it's so easy to use.
Doubt it's as easy as mine. I just dictate and it sends a text message. Text Mike. Thanks, Mike. I had fun last night.
Thanks, Mike. I have lip fungus.
I had fun, not lip fungus.
I have fungus. Hot lip fungus.
I don't have lip fungus!
wireless phones by Kyocera. All the features, none of the hassle.
I do not have a lip fungus.
Let it go.
Wow, new cherry Pepto. I love cherries.
Now there's a Pepto flavor everyone will love. And that's reason to dance. Cherry Pepto. Look for it today.
Right now, pick up a free Wood Pro kit at a steel dealer near you. Get real power. Steel. Built to last. Priced to sell.
John Wells along with Lee Pedersen back on campus at the University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon. And the hometown Huskies lead the visiting Huskies 7-0. Here are the numbers.
Well, pretty ugly side for St. Mary's. Good, solid first quarter for Saskatchewan. And that time of possession continues that way. You're going to have a pretty tired St. Mary's defense by the fourth quarter.
Only touchdown, the only scoring play. Jeff Piercy on an 8-yard reception from Steve Beelan.
Yeah, I guess for as dominant as those numbers were in Saskatchewan's favor, St. Mary's should be happy. It's only 7 points.
2nd and 4 as Beelan puts it up. First deep pass of the game. Very nicely defended. The intended receiver was Nathan Hofford. And Derek Watson got over to get a hand on that.
Well, I tell you, corners are running a real fine line on defending these long patterns with face guarding. Here, Derek Watson, watch. He really never gets his hand turned around, but gets the hand out just at the last second, and that's pretty good defensive play, but that is so close to face guarding. A real fine line. The corners on both sides of the defenses today.
3rd down kicking situation for Saskatchewan. Brad Allen averaging 35.6 per punt. Back in his own zone. Rush was on. He got it away. Curtis Nash for St. Mary's. Looks for room outside, and he's cut down at the 40-yard line.
Well, John, so far in this football game for St. Mary's, Steve Piniella really hasn't gone on track. He's 0 for 2 in the passing department, and you know, so far he's just made some poor decisions. That was a bad throw out in the flat to his running back, and here he just held the ball forever when he had some receivers open downfield. So for St. Mary's to get into this football game, and they're only down by 7, Piniella has to make some better decisions and really get calmed down and untracked.
Better field position for St. Mary's to begin this drive, and Piniella is on track. On the money for a big first down out across midfield.
And Ryan Warburton, the good slot back, he's a great target, 6 foot, 190 pounds. In fact, this entire receiving corps for St. Mary's is huge. They're all 6'4", 6'2", 6'3", and that is the first good decision that Piniella has made today. He split the defensive backs with Warburton, and it's a play like that that all of a sudden can get your confidence back.
An 18-yard gain. St. Mary's in Saskatchewan territory for the first time. Piniella near side, and this one is picked off. Grabbed by Pulaski. Justin Pulaski comes up with the interception. He's stolen away from the St. Mary's receiver.
Well, just as I've given Steve Piniella all kinds of compliments on his decision-making, that was a terrible decision. There was no way that the receiver, Curtis Woodley, was open on the sidelines. Pulaski with the easy interception. A couple of little shenanigans going as they went after Piniella on the defensive side, but the interception will stand. Saskatchewan gets the ball back, and for Piniella, a really, really poor decision after he made a nice throw to Warburton to get them a little bit untracked. Well, you know,
88 St. Mary's, first down Saskatchewan.
And that after the interception, after the fact.
Well, I'll tell you what happened, John, and I don't think we're going to get a look at it, but Saskatchewan really went after Piniella, the quarterback, on the interception and had him pinned down on the ground. And if I'm St. Mary's, I too would take exception. You take a 15-yard penalty, but you got to protect your quarterback, and I don't blame Warburton for doing it.
So Saskatchewan with a first down and yards added on. Nunweiler right side, and he'll have another Saskatchewan first down pending the outcome of this flag that followed after he stepped out. Curtis Nash was there, forcing him out of bounds.
Well, this is the counter trap where they pull the backside tackle, and Saskatchewan for the second time today has run it to perfection. Look at Chris Sutherland. He circled the left tackle. Watch this, the counter. He comes around the corner, and watch the block that he gets against Dave Metzleth, the 42, the linebacker. That gets Nunweiler to the outside. Terrific looking play.
Penalty goes against Saskatchewan. But it remains a first down on the yardage picked up by Nunweiler.
Boy, their running game, that offensive line, what wonderful execution up front.
Nunweiler again, and only a couple of yards. On a slight delay there. Matt Fox was there one more time.
Well, Matt Fox, I said it early, John, in the first quarter, he's going to be the guy, and he's going to have a lot of tackles today to shut Nunweiler down, and you know, I'm not sure they're going to shut Nunweiler down at all. Fox, a couple of sacks on the season, a good leader on this St. Mary's team, but again, the pressure really is on him to stay active from tackle to tackle, shed blocks, and make plays.
Fox, an Atlantic Conference All-Star.
How about this? The two helmets were locked together, their face masks. Burris, the defensive tackle, Tim Burris, one of those Jerome Haywood of the Ottawa Renegades kind of players, 5'11", 280.
Nathan Hopper to the near side. It's Nunweiler, takes the pitch. Left side, first down, Saskatchewan. And about 6 to spare. This guy has speed and finesse, averaging 7.2 yards per carry as a running back in the CIS.
Boy, and John, the offensive line for Saskatchewan really doing a job again. Circled is the left tackle, Chris Sutherland. Watch how he just seals to the inside. These guys are so athletic up front that it really makes the job so much easier for the running backs like Nunweiler. But that offensive line for Saskatchewan really getting it done here in the first half.
Another big gain for Nunweiler. It's a 16-yard pickup. First down, Saskatchewan. Stevens, left side, and he's cut down.
Well, now you just start waiting for the play action. I mean, Stevens getting his chance, Nunweiler doing some real damage, and now it's just, to me, a matter of time, John, before Steve Veland just fakes it and sets up that play action. They've run the ball 5 times in a row, and boy, oh boy, does this ever smell like play action time to me.
Well, behind that giant offensive line, average height 6'3", average weight 291.
Oh, they're a big group.
2nd and 6. Veland looks to put it up, goes deep, no one home. Looked like a miscommunication there. Nathan Hofford was the closest Saskatchewan receiver to the ball.
You know, I guess if there's one area of concern so far, Saskatchewan has moved the ball at will against St. Mary's, but only a 7-point lead and 1 score. Now they have an opportunity for a field goal attempt. This is Braden Sukin. His maximum range they feel on normal conditions is 45 yards. Now this one is from 35, so well within his ability. But Saskatchewan, for as much offense as they're getting, they've got to start to count some points with it.
Sukin will have it spotted by Drew Kendall. And it will be on the 35-yard line. Sukin into the wind. He has it for 3 more. Braden Sukin makes it 10-0. Saskatchewan leading St. Mary's in the Mitchell Bowl.
Introducing the redesigned 2005 Mazda Tribute. Funny what an SUV is willing to do for a little...
That's me, Jay, over 20 years ago, enjoying my McCain Super Fries. Still do today. Didn't say much back then. And look at all these different varieties of McCain Premium Super Fries. Spicy, extra crispy, great tasting potato, with all the flavor and crispiness we love. It's also good to know that they're all made with 100% non-hydrogenated canola oil.
McCain Premium Super Fries. All the flavor and crispness you love with 100% non-hydrogenated pure canola oil. Consider it the next generation.
Right now, you can pick up a Steel VG55 blower for just $229.95 at a Steel dealer near you. Get real power. Steel, built to last, priced to sell.
Speed Stick 24/7 gives you proven non-stop protection. With time-release sweat and odor fighters, Speed Stick's always there when you need it the most. Speed Stick 24/7, it never quits.
The Mitchell Bowl, a battle of the Huskies. It's the Sea Dogs from St. Mary's against the Prairie Dogs from Saskatchewan. And so far, the hometowners have the advantage, leading 10-0. First down, St. Mary's after the Saskatchewan field goal. Pinella hands off to Nolan. And not much there. Gottslig was in there, along with Balzer on the tackle.
Well, we talked about Darryl Balzer. There he is, number 39, the middle linebacker. And watch how he cuts underneath the play here, gets in behind the block, and makes the tackle in the backfield. That's an outstanding read by Balzer. Former Saskatoon Hilltop, but he's patrolling the middle, and it takes skill and agility. He did it perfectly.
Literally no gain. 2nd and 10. Pinella in trouble and wrapped up. Gottslig got through. Ryan Gottslig. First team All-Canadian from last season.
Well, this St. Mary's team has not been a good second or long team this afternoon, and that time Pinelli's throwing. He's looking downfield into a pretty strong sun here and trying to pick out his receivers. He really had no time to get that one off at all.
Dan Lumley into punt for St. Mary's, averaging 38.7. And this is a beauty. Almost perfect, chasing Aaron David all the way back inside the 35. St. Mary's all around. And St. Mary's have come up with a loose ball. Number 35, St. Pierre.
Well, maybe this was the break that they needed for St. Mary's, John, because they really had nothing going their way so far. A tremendous punt. And Aaron David trying for some extra yardage with the ball knocked loose right there. And 35, Tim St. Pierre, the linebacker on the cover team, with the recovery. And Steve Pinella really has to calm himself down and take advantage of this opportunity. I don't think he's going to get a lot of opportunities to score against Saskatchewan this afternoon. And this is one where he really has to try to take advantage of the turnover. Somehow, either put Fraser O'Neill in the slot. You got to get the ball in his hands. He hasn't seen it yet here in the first half.
O'Neill has speed. He has size. And we'll see if Pinella looks in his direction on the next sequence for St. Mary's.
I'm not ready for the holidays.
Oh, why not?
Shopping.
I'm gonna do all my shopping at Best Buy. Their non-commission structure creates a hassle-free environment. Plus, they have great gifts, like electronics, entertainment software, and gift cards.
How do you know all this?
Oh, he told me.
It's the fun place for great gifts.
Mistletoe.
Best Buy. Thousands of possibilities. Get yours.
Just in time for the holidays. Save $300 on this $5.99 half-carat diamond ring. Now just $2.99. Hurry in. Quantities are limited. Exclusively at People's, the diamond store. Just in time for the holidays. Save $50 on this exclusive $149 diamond heart pendant. Now just $99. There is love in here. At People's, the diamond store.
Les Mullings, the injured St. Mary's player, on the exchange and on the fumble recovery, a 56-yard gain in field position for St. Mary's, set up in scoring position in that green zone for the first time this afternoon in Saskatoon. From the Saskatchewan 25, first down St. Mary's. Three receivers to the near side, play action fake, nice pass, complete, and it's enough for a first down. Curtis Woodley over the middle, number 4. Scheibel, the safety for Saskatchewan, moving up to make the tackle.
Well, it's a good play. Woodley's the third man in, and against his zone defense, he reads it nicely. So does his quarterback. He steps up and makes a good, quick decision. Pinella did not hang on to the football too long. Delivered a strike.
First and goal to go, St. Mary's, Saskatchewan 9, pitch right side. Giacalone, number 10. Giacalone is coming off a 300-yard game in the snow against Acadia.
I mean, that is unheard of. He had 31 carries, almost a 10-yard average, 304 yards, a couple of touchdowns. I mean, that is just phenomenal. He's a great size, tough to bring down, 5'10", 200 pounds, so he's got a reasonably low center of gravity. And you know, it's 2nd and 8. They're down inside the 20. And this is crucial for St. Mary's, I believe, in this football game. Even though it's the first half, to me, it's a crucial series.
2nd and goal to go at the Saskatchewan 7. And it's whistled down. St. Mary's, a time count violation.
Well, they've made a lot of mistakes here in the first half, and you know, they are the younger of the two teams, the less experienced of the two teams on the field today, and really in this first half it's showing, John.
Second and 12. 2nd and goal to go from the Saskatchewan 12, and Pinella gets forced to throw it into the turf. Giacalone was the closest St. Mary's receiver to the ball, and the pressure supplied by Giebert.
And they really changed up the coverage. To the right side of your screen, you're going to see it come late. The halfback blitz here. It comes from the outside. Now, Pulowski didn't get there, but he forced Pinella to step up, and Giebert then got enough of him that the ball was thrown well underneath the receiver. But a really good changeup on 2nd and long by that Saskatchewan defense. Throw the halfback blitz in there and just give St. Mary's a different look.
Rodrigo Davalos has had success this season. 10 of 17, 58%. This is a 19-yarder. And St. Mary's on the scoreboard.
Where did you get that feather?
Our trip. We load up our new Nissan Pathfinder and head out. Make camp, cab, make camp. Get a better idea, get lost, get found, jump in a lake, jump out of the lake. We keep driving, watch 4 movies, come across this family and give them a ride. Well, the father's a Navajo Healy man, and soon we're around this fire and they give us this hawk feather. We drive home without touching a freeway and get back just as we run out of CDs. Broccoli?
The new 7-passenger, 270-horsepower Nissan Pathfinder.
Design and print your own covers. Nokia, connecting people.
For muscle aches and pains, try new Rub A535 Dual Action Patch. Goes from cold to hot for deep penetrating relief. New Dual Action Rub A535 for cold to hot relief.
Sore, aching muscles? Try the new Sports Wrap and heat the hurt from Sunbeam.
President's Choice Raptors basketball coming your way on TSN San Antonio against Toronto. It's tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern on TSN. So join us for that.
Well, they had a little fun in Detroit last night in the NBA. Did you see that? Oh, my God. Ben Wallace and Ron Artest, holy jumping.
Up in the stands. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. There will be repercussions as a result, no doubt about that.
They spent a little money last night, I think.
They certainly did. Saskatchewan first down after giving up the field goal. Could have been worse after the fumble on the return. Completes. Drew Kendall. Andre Knights over to make the tackle for St. Mary's.
Steve Beeland has gone to a real high percentage passing game today off the three-step drop. His receivers have had lots of room. St. Mary's defensive backs have not really come up. You know, it's billed as a pressure defense, but they really have not been up in the face of the Saskatchewan receivers at all. And they've made life quite easy for Beeland.
Kendall picked up 5, 2nd and 5, Saskatchewan. Beeland, same target, and this will be enough for a first down as Kendall makes the catch for a 7-yard gain.
And they're giving the Saskatchewan receivers, John, a lot of respect. A nice half-field look. The middle guy is 78, Kendall again, and pretty easy stuff. Find the soft spot. They deliver the football. Far too much to ask your middle linebacker, Matt Fox, to get out and make the play. And Steve Beeland is reading everything perfectly, and St. Mary's at this stage has really done nothing to upset his rhythm.
First down. Beeland keeps it on the ground. Scott Stevens, 3, maybe 4 yards. And here's Ray Morrison on the sideline.
John, I just chatted with Steve Beeland before he started this series of plays. He says from a throwing standpoint with regards to accuracy and distance, he's probably at about 60%. We saw him try stretch a couple out to Hofford in the first quarter, and it didn't pan out all that well. He says he's at about 60%. It doesn't hurt now because he's frozen solid, but he says later tonight it's going to hurt a lot.
Well, that stomach pull, you really can never gauge when it's 100%. But if he's only throwing short, you got to come up and be a little more aggressive in the secondary.
This isn't short. Sheeman was the intended receiver, and Beeland had looks on that. Didn't connect with the receiver, however.
I realize, and that's where he had to go, but he had to go there because St. Mary's decided to come up and get a little more aggressive, and pretty solid numbers in the first half for Beeland, although for as much offense, again, and let me repeat, 10-3 is probably not where they want to be for how they've had things their own way.
Not at all comfortable for the hometown Huskies, despite the dominance here, and that door is wide open for St. Mary's, only a touchdown back.
And, you know, the wide open door is a special teams play or an interception, fumble, you know, and all of a sudden, St. Mary's is in great shape.
St. Mary's 3 points coming as a direct result of the fumble on the return. And Curtis Nash spins for about 6 after a 36-yard punt.
Gold, oh glorious gold. Men have traveled great distances for it, battled for it, treasured it. Wow, wow. This gold, this glorious gold, Bright, crisp, clean and pure. The benchmark of all that is worthy. It's your kingdom. Consider yourself a wealthy man. Budweiser, king of beers.
Penalty against St. Mary's on the return, and that will force the Eastern Huskies to begin this drive back near the 10. Here's what they were looking for, a little more breakaway as a runner from Giacalone, who had that sensational game against Acadia last week in the snow.
Well, they're going to need a little more of this. Good blocking up front. The center, Nathan McHugh got a nice block on the middle linebacker, and that's what opened that up. I mean, you get the middle linebacker when you're running inside the tackles, you have a good chance for success.
First down again, and Balzer was there and waiting. Giacalone.
Well, again, you know, I just talked about, you know, you get the block on the middle linebacker, you can run inside the tackles, but when you don't get the block, and here's Balzer again, 39, when you don't get the block on the middle linebacker, then your chances are diminished, and that play went for only about 1.5 yards.
Second and long, they'll need about 8 yards to convert. Nice play action fake. Pinella looking deep near side, and he found his man. Fraser O'Neill makes the catch, and it's the biggest play offensively for St. Mary's in the afternoon.
Well, John, this was an unbelievable catch. Watch it, he's to the outside here. I believe he uses one arm to hold off Barnstable and makes a one-handed catch right here. Yes, he does. What a tremendous catch by Fraser O'Neill. You and I suggested he needed to get involved in this offense. That's his first catch of the game, and is it ever a beauty? Oh, he's a pro prospect. I said that in our opening, and fun to watch him.
He has speed and he has size. And St. Mary's with a key first down. Giacalone, the carrier, and he's got 3, well, make it 2 yards. One more look at O'Neill's grab here.
Well, absolutely. To the right side of your screen, he holds off the DB with one hand. The other hand makes the catch. I'm not sure he was in bounds, but it was a beauty catch anyway. And you know what I'd like to see them do with Fraser O'Neill is move him around a little more. I'd love to see him be put in the slot where it's a little easier to get him the ball quickly.
Second and 8, St. Mary's, Saskatchewan 43. Pinella sees an opening, and he'll have the first down. Tough running for the St. Mary's quarterback, Steve Pinella, in what could be his final game in university football. But if St. Mary's wins today, there will be one more game in the Vanier Cup next Saturday afternoon in Hamilton.
Yeah, this is a good call. Here's the block on the middle linebacker right there. They take care of him, Balzer, and then a quarterback draw gets some great yardage for Pinella. He's a tough quarterback throughout the season. He took some awful hits in games against Laval and Concordia and Acadia, but he is a tough quarterback.
He picked up 12 yards, and this running play is not half as effective. A helmet comes loose. Giacalone was stopped in his tracks. Tyson Craigs, a fifth-year player for Saskatchewan, made the tackle there.
Well, 41 tackles on the season, a terrific player. There he is to the right of your screen, and watch his work here. They just try to bounce it to the outside, but I mean, it's like he read the play so quickly. He's up in there in the hole, no chance for Giacalone to get there. A solid, square your shoulders up to the line of scrimmage kind of tackle. What a beautiful play.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 11, St. Mary's. Pinella look to escape again, and he won't get away this time. 3 Saskatchewan Huskies are there, led by Ryan Gottslig. Second sack for Saskatchewan, and a kicking situation for St. Mary's. First team All-Canadian last year, Ryan Gottslig. on the sidelines. Dan Lumley out around midfield. Two Saskatchewan returners in the end zone. This one will bounce out at about the 2-yard line. That's about as good as it gets. Saskatchewan starts deep.
We started this thing, and now we're on top. Everybody's trying to knock us off. It's us versus them. We must protect this house. Will you protect this house? I will. We must protect this house.
Welcome back. It's the Mitchell Bowl from Griffith Stadium on the campus of the University of Saskatchewan. And the hometown Huskies cling to a 1-touchdown lead. So there's been something to cheer about for a sellout crowd here. But how about the punt by Dan Lumley, forcing Saskatchewan to begin this drive back at the 2-yard line?
Yeah, with 3 minutes to go, just under 3 now, and a wonderful opportunity for St. Mary's defense to dig in.
And on first down, that's exactly what St. Mary's is able to do.
Phil Howell, 36 from the outside, really closed down quickly. Now is when it gets tough, and I'm telling you, from a defensive standpoint, if it's me, I come up and pressure these receivers. I want that ball back quickly for my quarterback so he has a chance to get some more points before halftime.
Howell putting the stop on Nunweiler after a 4-yard gain. So this is a critical play for Saskatchewan, looking at 2nd down and 6. And that may just work. In fact, it will be a huge first down for Saskatchewan as Aaron David got open, makes the catch, and grabs extra yards on the play.
Well, I guess the frustrating thing for me is you know he's going to throw short. There's David to the outside. They clear out it again. He comes underneath the coverage in the corner, cannot make the tackle, can't make the play. Derek Watson. And you know it's coming short, but there's nothing you can do about it. And Watson could have maybe had the tackle right there, but his angle was just a little bit behind, and St. Mary's gets out of a hole.
Big hit on Nunweiler. First down run. Nunweiler tries the left side, and Ulrich Birthright was there to make the play. The gain is better than 5, though. It'll be a 6-yard gain, looking at 2nd and 4, Saskatchewan.
You know, it's interesting. We've had a fair bit of offense, but, you know, both Brian Towers and Blake Nill said yesterday they thought it would be kind of a defensive game, although offenses were, you know, pretty dominant throughout the regular season. At this time of the year, they felt the defenses were going to have the upper hand, and they really have.
No catch intended for Sheeman, and he laid out, couldn't squeeze it. So Saskatchewan gets set to kick it away. 1:41 till halftime, and that play by Aaron David, including the broken tackle that he forced St. Mary's to miss there, really setting Saskatchewan up in better field position all of a sudden than they were moments ago back at the 2. So a gain of a little bit on one big play.
And you know what? The sun really is a factor in the returner's eyes right now. And number 12, Curtis Nash, is back there, but that sun could be a bit of a challenge.
Not a big kick. In fact, it might have been partially blocked as Nash has to roll back to his 40 and then fall on it. Penalty flags fly after that. But there's another flag back in the area. A 34-yard punt, and did St. Mary's get a little piece of that? Brad Olin punting for Saskatchewan. Watch here.
Yeah, it's tough to tell. I'm sure he got a little piece of it because he did come into contact, and if he got any part of the football, of course, it would not be contacting the kicker.
So there are 2 flags down.
Well, Steve Pinella's got 1:30 to try to take his team. He's going to begin from the 30-yard line.
15, St. Mary's on the run back. 10-yard penalty. First down, St. Mary's.
So the only penalty is against Les Mullings for holding on the return. Steve Pinella. At quarterback for St. Mary's. Nice pass. At least as far as it looked, it was a pretty pass leaving his hands, but Barnstable almost picked it up.
Well, you will not get an easier interception attempt than the one Barnstable had right there. A throw by Pinella overshot the mark, and it's going to come right at you. Have a look what Barnstable sees. He sees interception, but he just can't hang on to the football.
Well, he had a lot on it. It was on a rope, as it were, but off target. The intended receiver, Ryan Warburton.
Well, now, of course, with 1:25 to go, Saskatchewan's thinking stop, and we may have a chance for some points.
2nd and 10 here. Pinella with all kinds of time. Tipped into the hands of the receiver. Catch is made by Mako. Atmos Mako had it tipped into his hands. Saskatchewan cover guy.
Michalchuk.
Yes, absolutely. And that's Jess Michalchuk, number 35.
Yes, and he had absolutely superb coverage. I was watching the two of them battle downfield, and Mako, just as the recipient of a tough play by Michalchuk, that should have again been another interception. He had it right in his hands, but St. Mary's with the big break.
And here, St. Mary's, Pinella. Little play action fake, and he runs again. He's been effective running the football on a couple of occasions. Looks like he's a little bit shy of the first down there, but positive yardage just the same. Steve Pinella, 5th-year quarterback. 10 touchdowns on the season. 5 of 10 last week for 65 yards against Acadia. It was a runner's game in the snow to get St. Mary's here to the Mitchell Bowl. 1:02 to go. And Mullings should have enough for the first down. We'll see where the spot is. Les Mullings.
Yeah, lots of time for Steve Pinella if they pick up the first down. He's into his hurry-up offense, 56 seconds to go. Lots of time for him to run this offense. In fact, they've taken a timeout here to discuss things and make sure they have the right plays called, because this is an absolutely wonderful opportunity for them. They've been dominated in the first half by Saskatchewan, but they're only a couple of plays away from having a tie game at halftime.
And big plays for St. Mary's. The fumble set up the field goal.
Well, their special teams play has been good. They've had great production from their punting, which puts them in some good spots. And you know, although Pinella has not a first half that he'd be overly proud of, he's in a great spot here.
He's hanging in, down by a touchdown.
See, here's where I talked about Fraser O'Neill, and he's the wide receiver, made one terrific catch, but, you know, sometimes it's so much easier to get to the ball to the receiver if he's in the slot, and here's where I'd love to see them move him around a little bit. They've been very content to keep him as the wide receiver to the wide side of the field, and sometimes I just think that takes him out of the play. And again, he's going wide side to the top of the field, but if he's in the slot, I think they could have some real success with him.
St. Mary's first down, Saskatchewan 17. Chance to tie it here if they can keep this drive alive. Catch made by Mako again, so he's made a couple on this drive, including the one tipped into his hand. Less than 5 yards to gain there.
He's a draft choice of the BC Lions, playing the Grey Cup tomorrow, so he is their property when he comes out of university.
This will be 2nd and 6. St. Mary's at the Saskatchewan 13. Pinella stands in. He's got time. Escapes. Does he have enough for the first down? I think he'll be a little bit shy, and maybe thought about a gamble here by Blake Nill with 36.6 seconds till the half. We'll see where they spot the ball.
Well, you know, this is very interesting. In a game like this, points to me are crucial, and anything can happen on a handoff. They're going to get a bit of a break here where they time out to take and do the measurement.
It'll be 3rd and 1 as we look at it from here, but we'll see how close St. Mary's actually is to a first down on this measurement.
Well, this is, you know, both coaches have great experience. Of course, Brian Towers, 21 years as a head coach. Blake Nils, 7. He's won a couple of Vanier Cups. These guys don't make a lot of mistakes. And I'm sure whichever way he goes, and they are going to go gambling. I kind of like the call because, John, you're only going to get so many scoring chances on the road, and I think you need to take advantage. I like the call.
3rd down and 1 to go. They've got a couple of running backs who've been able to run the football effectively. Giacalone and Mullings, and they have a quarterback in Pinella who has run as well. It is Pinella, and do they force him back? It might be a little close here.
Well, I really questioned the play because
he didn't get down, did he?
There was nobody in the backfield, so, I mean, everybody in the park knows the quarterback's going to run with the football, and that makes the defense's job that much easier.
Did he drop it here?
I'm not sure. He didn't cough it up at the end. Oh, there it is. The ball's on the ground. I think St. Mary's gets it back.
They get it back, but it will be interesting. He likely lost a few inches there.
Well, they got the first down, and the gamble pays off.
So 26.6 seconds till halftime. St. Mary's threatening to get back to even here with a first down and goal to go at the Saskatchewan 4. Pinella looks to the end zone. There's the toss, and he'll get the touchdown. Tomiak comes up with a huge touchdown reception. All up, Tomiak has the TD catch. The gamble pays off, and we're all even, 10-10, or almost all even. Convert to come.
Well, this was a heck of a catch by Tomiak. He comes in as the 5th receiver. It goes as a 4-yard catch, but it was a long pass into the end zone. 2 receivers came dangerously close, but Pinella picks him out, and good concentration. He takes the hit after the play as well, and by Mike Scheibel, but Tomiak hangs on, and we're all tied.
Heading to halftime, 17.9 seconds until halftime officially begins. The Mitchell Bowl on campus at the University of Saskatchewan. Huskies against the Huskies, Prairie Dogs against the Sea Dogs. And Saskatchewan had a 10-0 lead. St. Mary's with back-to-back scores, field goal first, touchdown there. All even, heading to the dressing rooms at halftime.
Wow, what a lift for Blake Nils' team right here to take advantage of very few scoring opportunities, but they've been able to do it. 10-10. You know, I think St. Mary's goes in at halftime saying, my oh my, did we claw our way back into this football game? And I think for Saskatchewan, with the amount of offense they've had and only 10 points, they got to say, what do we have to do?
6 plays to cover 80 yards, finished off by the Tomiak touchdown reception in a time of 1:15. So St. Mary's kicks off to Saskatchewan. And they'll reset. On the return, Saskatchewan. Out across the 35, Aaron David. And Birthright forced him out with 13.4 seconds remaining till the half.
Well, with 13 seconds to go, Steve Beelan, you know, if I'm him, I don't, you know, do you take a shot or not? I don't know.
Well, they're lining up in passing formation here.
I'd probably take a shot. You got wide receiver Aaron David. He's your #1 guy. He's out to the wide side. Why not let one rip for him?
On the ground. Scott Stevens for a couple. Well, they got a 4-yard gain, actually speaking, almost 5. 9.4 seconds to go.
Here's
The only thought here, Leaf, is you wonder about trying to regain a little momentum after giving it all to St. Mary's. But this should be the last play with time ticking down and zeros on the clock. So this will be it for the opening half, barring a penalty on this play. Stevens again.
Oh, what a hit.
And no markers anywhere. It's halftime at the Mitchell Bowl. Saskatchewan with the early 10-point lead. St. Mary's has stormed back. It's all even at the half.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Campbell's Chunky Soup. Campbell's Chunky, fully constructed.
At the half of the Mitchell Bowl in Saskatoon, Rod Smith back at the Sports Center newsroom. The winner of that game will take the UTEC Bowl champion on in the Vanier Cup. That'll be either Laval or Laurier. Geronimo Huerta Flores and the defending champs. Looking good early. First half belonged to the home side. Huerta Flores rushing for 2 TDs. The Quebec champs up 18-1 at the half. And in the second half, they continued it. William Leclerc tossing it down the sideline. Matthew LeBlanc hauls it in and does the rest for the touchdown. Laval 30, Laurier 11. Laval off to the Vanier again. You might have missed this last night. It was ugly in Detroit. The Pacers-Pistons game called with 45 seconds to go because of a major brawl that spilled into the stands. Players and fans involved. The NBA has officially suspended Ron Artest, Ben Wallace, Stephen Jackson, and Jermaine O'Neal indefinitely. Much more on that story in Sports Center at 6 o'clock Eastern. Join us then.
For the first time ever on a 3-disc DVD, Tiger, the true story authorized by the champion himself, including a front row seat to Tiger's golf clinic.
The key to golf is always being pin high.
With never-before-seen footage and exclusive interviews. His life.
My father always used to tell me, if you work hard, you're going to get results.
His majors. His legacy. Tiger, the authorized DVD collection. Own it today.
Mom, when somebody sneezes, you say bless you, right?
Right.
Then what are you supposed to say when somebody coughs?
Robitussin.
To help stop a bad cough, respond with the strength of Robitussin.
Robitussin. Robitussin.
Tim, it's bless you for coughs.
Yeah.
To help stop a bad cough, respond with the strength of Robitussin. Robitussin. Right now, pick up a free Wood Pro kit at a steel dealer near you. Get real power. Steel. Built to last. Priced to sell.
Hey, do you know where the... What?
I want to take you somewhere.
I'm free for dinner.